Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
In this episode, I want to take a brief moment to bring greater awareness around the subject of diabetes. I'm recording this episode on November 14th, which happens to be Worldwide Diabetes Day. Now, what's the significance of this day? That's a good question. Well, first of all, before I get into this, diabetes is a problem, not just here in the U.S. where I live, but it's a problem worldwide. And I'm going to share some things that you may not know right now about this disease. It's not just a big person disease, a fat person disease, an obese person disease. It affects all cultures, all body types, people from different countries, different nations, and you'll be shocked to learn that diabetes affects everyone. So it stands to reason that we need to bring greater awareness around this disease. And this year marks the 101st anniversary of the discovery of insulin. So because of the discovery of insulin by Frederick Banton and Charles Best, it marked a landmark development that helped to transform the daily lives of people living with diabetes. Now, we know insulin has helped people to save their lives and manage diabetes. Now, of course, my goal and my desire is for us to be medication free. I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes and get off insulin after taking insulin for close to a year. And so with lifestyle changes that I made, I was able to not only get off insulin, but get off other medications like metformin. And I was able to get off blood pressure medication because I was dealing with high blood pressure as well. And my cholesterol was up, and I was able to get to the point where I no longer have to take high cholesterol medicine. So I'm grateful for that. So the Worldwide Diabetes Day, not only is it a great opportunity for us to bring awareness to the disease, but to also influence policymakers. Now, why do we want to influence policymakers? What do we want policymakers to do? We want them to increase access to diabetes education to help improve the lives of more than 500 million people. That's 500 million people living with diabetes worldwide. And so the theme for this year's Worldwide Diabetes Day is access to diabetes care. The diabetes epidemic is one of the most important public health issues of our time. With all the people around the world who are living with this disease and many more at risk, the impact often goes unrecognized. People are losing limbs. People are suffering financially. Now, here's some stats that may shock you. 1 in 10 adults have diabetes. Almost 1 in 2 adults with diabetes are undiagnosed, basically not even knowing they have the disease. 537 million adults worldwide are living with diabetes. It is estimated that by 2030, 634 million adults are predicted to be living with diabetes at that time. Wow. 4 in 5 people with diabetes live in low and middle income countries. It is estimated that back in 2021, 6.7 million adults died due to diabetes or its complications. Now get this, $966 billion was spent in 2021 on global health expenses due to diabetes. Now, that's a lot. I don't know about you, but when I hear statistics, sometimes it's like, okay, what does all that mean? So basically, let me run it down for you. There's a lot of people living with type 2 diabetes. There's a lot of people being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. There's a lot of people who have diabetes and don't even know it. There's people who have pre-diabetes, which leads, in some cases, to type 2 diabetes. And folks don't even know it. So it stands to reason that we have to create a greater awareness around this disease because it's impacting people's lives. I've said it before. I have friends who've lost limbs. I have friends who've died because of this. And in my own situation, when I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes back in 2018, I didn't take this seriously. I didn't take the diagnosis seriously. I didn't know anything about diabetes other than it was just high blood sugar, and some people get diabetes and end up dying. So my attitude was, okay, I have pre-diabetes, still didn't know what that meant. But as long as I don't have the full-blown type 2 diabetes, I should be good. I'll make some changes here or there, but it was not a wholesale decision. Then eventually, a couple of years later, by August 2020, I was hospitalized, and it was in the hospital that I found out that I had type 2 diabetes. And I felt terrible. Yes, I was overweight, 268 pounds, sluggish, dealing with hypertension, high cholesterol, stressed out, going through some personal challenges. Oh man, it was crazy at the time. I wasn't exercising, definitely wasn't eating properly, wasn't eating healthy on a regular basis, or let's just say at all. So now I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes by making some lifestyle changes. I had to educate myself. I had to learn more about what was going on in my body and to my body. I had to educate myself on what I was doing to my body to get me to this place where I had type 2 diabetes. I was spending a lot of money on insulin, a lot of money on medication, a lot of money on the doctor visits. And I just got to the point where I was like, enough is enough. I made up my mind to educate myself, and I still educate myself to this day. I'm not an expert on this, but I am on the road, on a journey to learn as much as I can about diabetes, type 2 diabetes in particular, and help others to make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. So I'm on a mission. As I wrap up today's episode, this bonus episode, I want to encourage you to increase your education when it comes to diabetes. There's online resources that you can turn to. Of course, there's some professionals that you should turn to as well. There's some self-study that I recommend that you do. But there's something that I want to share with you before I give you some of these resources. It is said that what you give your attention to the most is what you will desire. If you desire to live healthy, to eat healthy, to exercise more, you have to give more attention to that. It's just not going to happen overnight. You have to turn your attention towards healthy eating, healthy exercises, and an entire healthy lifestyle change in order to desire it. So again, what you give your attention to the most is what you will desire. If you don't spend time educating yourself on diabetes and reversing type 2 diabetes and getting healthy and losing weight, are you really going to desire it? Some people talk about not being motivated to exercise or motivated to eat healthy because maybe they have some personal things going on. All I can say is what you give your attention to the most is what you're going to desire. So online education, there's some online resources. You can Google it, of course, just Google diabetes education, and there's overabundance of information out there. But I do want to draw your attention to the International Diabetes Federation. That's IDF.org. It's an umbrella organization of over 240 national diabetes association in more than 160 countries and territories. It represents the interests of the growing number of people with diabetes and those who are at risk. The Federation has been leading the global diabetes community since 1950. So go out there and get some information. There's also the American Diabetes Association, and the website for American Diabetes Association is simply diabetes.org. Another resource is the World Health Organization. Now, you can Google them and find out some information about type 2 diabetes and just diabetes in general. Like I said, there are tons of articles, there's tons of organizations that are focused on creating diabetes awareness and providing you with education. I also recommend that you get some professional help. Of course, with your primary care physician, definitely make sure you're getting your regular checkups. You may not even know if you have type 2 diabetes, or if you feel like you're at risk because maybe of your weight or your lifestyle of eating, maybe some cravings that you have for sweets and carbs and so forth, and you're just, really concerned. I definitely recommend that you get in contact with your physician, schedule your blood work, go over your blood work, and learn what is going on in your body and to your body. You may want to also consider getting with a diabetes educator if you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. Is there something about connecting with a professional? Because let's say, you may not be good at researching and interpreting a lot of information, so getting with a diabetes educator would be good. One of the questions that I get often is, okay, Oscar, I see that you lost over 80 pounds. I see that you're living a healthy lifestyle. How can I turn my life around? What food should I be eating? How can I get some nutrition information and so forth? So I always encourage folks to definitely get with a nutritionist or a dietitian, a registered dietitian, because these are professionals that will help you specifically come up with meal plans and a nutrition plan specific to your needs. I give general information as to what I did to reverse type 2 diabetes and get healthy and get my energy back, get my vitality back, and get off medication and so forth. Of course, for me, I started eating more and more vegetables. I eat vegetables all the time, and not just a little bit. I eat a lot of vegetables, from spinach, broccoli, peppers. It's just not insane, but I eat a lot of vegetables, put it like that. And I love it. I used to not eat a lot of vegetables. I used to not like the taste of vegetables, but what it was is I didn't know how to prepare it, in a way that I would like it. So I always thought of healthy eating as bland and stuff that has no taste. And then I educated myself and I learned that, hey, I can make a lot of foods at home. And that's what I did. I stopped eating fried foods and the sugary, and stopped drinking sugary drinks. And there's a whole bunch of things that I started doing to turn my nutrition lifestyle and my diet lifestyle and turn it around. I started adopting the Mediterranean style of eating, which was tremendous for me. And I'm glad I made that change. I actually did a recent episode on the Mediterranean diet and the benefits of it, because it's not just a short-term fix. It's actually a lifestyle, something that you can adopt in your life. Maybe it works for you and maybe it will work for you. It's something that's doable. It's sustainable. So check out that episode on the Mediterranean diet in my library of episodes. So I just want to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of my followers and listeners, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, or you're part of my Facebook community group, the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Group. I just really appreciate you all for tuning in. So this has been the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo. My goal is to help diabetics and non-diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. And in this episode, I thank you so much for listening, for tuning in. And do me a favor. If you're not already a subscriber, subscribe to this podcast. Share this podcast with your loved ones, because I'm pretty sure you know someone who's living with type 2 diabetes. I'm pretty sure you know someone who may be pre-diabetic or someone who may be at risk. So this will be a good opportunity and a good resource for you to share. Thank you so much. And as always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back, because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabeteslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.